The thoughts, views, and comments expressed by the hosts, guests, callers, and advisors on Beyond the Headlines are not necessarily those of the management, ownership, or production unit of ILS, the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is a production of ILTV Studios and cannot be represented in part or entirety without the express written consent of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2026. All rights reserved.
Straight ahead tonight, U.S. President Trump implements a 12.5% tariff on all exports from the Bahamas. The Department of Labor getting support from a local industry insider, while the Contractors Association says the department is operating illegally. This week, Inland Revenue too targeted by small business owners for putting a squeeze on them. We talk about that. This is Beyond the Headlines. Good evening. Week in Review Fridays. I'm Shanique Miller. It's great to have you along this evening. Well, for more on tonight's top story, U.S. President Donald Trump, of course, the announcement getting a lot of people's attention and also causing quite a stir. We get this story from Laurencia Smith.
The Bahamas is now facing a new 12.5% U.S. tariffs on its exports after Washington accused the country of not yet implementing a ban on goods produced with forced labor. But the Bahamas government says it's moving quickly to address the issue while seeking a fair resolution that protects local businesses and preserves the country's long-standing trade relationship between the United States. U.S. Trade Representative for the United States noted that President Donald Trump believes decades of moral sanctions have not yet eliminated forced labor from global supply chains. He added that the United States has enforced a forced labor import ban for nearly a century, says it's well past time for trading partners to do the same. Government further noted that it is fully engaged with U.S. officials to seek clarity on the new tariffs while ensuring that the recent legislative actions taken by the Bahamas are fully taken into account. Meanwhile, the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce and Employers Confederation Chairman Don Williams says that the chamber is closely monitoring the latest tariff developments and their potential impact on the business community.
We're quite saddened by the news. Obviously, export is just as much of an importance as imports are. And in that regard, we have been liaising with various government agencies to understand what's happening, what's transpiring, and then what are the actionable steps so that we could get those tariffs reduced.
The Bahamas export performance showing signs of growth, with new figures from the Bahamas National Statistic Institute revealing a major increase in shipment to the United States. According to the department, data export to the United States total $110.9 million in the third quarter of 2025, up from $84.3 million during the same period of 2024. Overall, the country total exports reached $128 million for the quarter, representing a 19% increase year over year. Laurencia Smith, Eyewitness News.
Of course, you all saw that story from Laurencia Smith speaking with the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce there, but many people reading the articles and the news stories looking at exactly what was said in that the Bahamas is among 60 or so nations where we import goods, where there's slave labor, just a whole number of things being listed for this 12.5% tariff on exports. Well, I'm really excited and anxious and interested in hearing what the panel has to say on this. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines and good evening to each of you, Leslie Miller, Michael Turnquest, and Howard Johnson. Good evening.
Good evening, Shanique. Good evening, colleagues.
Good evening, colleagues. Good evening, Bahamas.
Good evening, Shanique. Evening, colleagues. Evening, Bahamas.
Gentlemen, it's so much going on in the world. I tell you, if it's not the war and the ramping up of the war and the increasing tough talk along those lines, now here's the Bahamas in a list of countries to have tariffs placed on them.
That's Rubio, man.
That's
Rubio.
The problem that the whole world has to worry about is that any given day, depending on which side of the bed,
Yeah.
the current president wakes up on.
45, 47.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
Don't let it be a country that he has on his mind. You jam. That's all I can say. I mean, you never know. You never know. Me today, you tomorrow.
Unpredictable.
Very unpredictable. Anything is expected. When you talk about forced labor, I mean, what other country that you know in the world, and when you talk about forced labor, that's been going on from Timbuktu time, from since we know it, we've heard about how Bahamians have helped build South Florida, and different countries, whether it be the orange farms and everything that would have taken place back in the 60s. I don't understand it. But like I said, it just all depends on what side of the bed he wakes up on and who he decides he's going to bother or go pick on that day. Like the big bully in
Big
school,
boys.
and that's just what it is.
Yep. Yeah. So Shanique,
I would be careful what you say now, because you.
Yeah, that's fine. I ain't scared of none of them.
You over there,
Even though I work,
You're gonna get picked up by ice.
I work in the federal government and I ain't scared because I'm a Bahamian. So
That's
right. That's what the song name.
What
the song name, man? That's song. Y'all in the back. My people in the back. Y'all can't pull that song for 2 seconds.
Tell me pack my clothes up, boy.
I
ain't worried about it. But no, Shanique, on a serious note though, it has always been the foreign policy position of the United States from Theodore Roosevelt's time towards the Western Hemisphere and the Caribbean in particular, to speak softly and carry a big stick. That big stick is for us whenever they feel inclined to use it. However, I don't see the United States as having any moral authority or duty to tell anybody about any forced labor.
Not after they had slavery,
millions and
for
millions
200
of
years.
Africans were taken from Africa and brought over to the United States and used as forced labor and chattel slavery for hundreds of years. But that's another story. But let me say this, Shanique. I think that what needs to be done in the wake of what's
That's it right there. Howard, pause for a second. Just to support your point.
Howard, you coming home?
I coming home.
Hey, Trump, listen, Trump.
Howard got a homeboy.
I get a home, boy.
That's it. I know, right? That's the big
I don't know
big
collect though. I don't
Big
drink.
tune.
I can just take the counter salad because I don't drink. No collect for me. But no. But Shanique, on a serious note, what we need to do in terms of getting this thing resolved, or putting ourselves in a better position, number one, we need to engage with the trade representative. If it's one time, it's okay for Fred Mitchell to fly, it would be today. Okay, get into Washington, D.C., and let's speak with these people, right? Because the Bahamas just recently, I believe on July the 1st, made an amendment to the Customs Management Act.
Yes,
which
and this is what they're leaning on,
addresses
Howard. Yes.
This forced labor stuff, which specifically addresses this. And I believe Latre mentioned it.
Latre did today,
He didn't
yes.
mention it by name, but he mentioned the legislative measures that were taken to really curtail exactly what happened to us today.
Yes.
And so what they need to do is really engage and reinforce that we've taken these measures to avert these practices from taking place, right? That's number one. And then number two, what we have to do is rely on the regional mobilization of CARICOM. Just last year, I don't know if you all remember, but there was an issue with the port where they tried to institute these exorbitant port fees on all of these vessels that were coming through the Caribbean. And under the leadership of Mia Motley, CARICOM was able to negotiate great terms and have these fees done away with. So to unilaterally go alone, the Bahamas might not make as much of an impact as it can on having these fees reduced. But if we use the power of our regional partners, just like with those port fees last year, we can make a dent. But it just goes to show that when these unilateral metrics, artificial metrics, are applied by these big bully countries on us, it doesn't matter what legislative efforts you take. When they gun in for you, they come in for you.
You know, American foreign policy has always been very simplistic, And it's so simple. We either dictate or we eliminate.
Yeah.
Now, who can't understand that? You either go by our rules or norms,
Yes.
and what we subscribe to you to do. If you're not prepared to do it, then we do the next best thing. And, Rubio's really responsible for what has happened to Cuba and Venezuela. You know, he came from Cuba, his family's there, and between now and next year, they will have Cuba exactly where they want it. They came after us because the Cuban doctors are nurses, that the government should be paying them and not paying the entity in Cuba for their services here to the Bahamian people. But it's been that way for, 50 years under Fidel Castro. He's gone now. Jamaica decided they were going to be tough, and they said, well, we had this relationship with them for over 50 years. We intend to maintain that. And then after you find out that when you go to the airport, you couldn't leave, they shift quicker. Okay. Listen, I remember, you know, one time when I was in cabinet, we went to the United States and we started talking about paying more fees on our situation there in Andros, you know, with the Ortec base. We had not an increase in like over 50 years. We had to meet with the fellas, and meeting went very well. Except 2 days later, when we went for a lot of day to declare customs and immigration. we haven't had a meeting since. And that was 2003. They don't say that, do you? I be here, you. And they could send the word out. So let these fellas put their go through immigration. And then we would start racing them. We never brought it up again. That's what they do to you. You're small, might is right, and they just put a stick on you.
Even if they being hypocrites.
That's the world we live in.
They don't care.
Yeah, so of course, we will follow that. People are quite nervous about it because we've been hearing about these tariffs now for almost since he was re-elected.
But they only went up by 2.5%. It was already 10 that he put it to, so it's going to expire at the end of the month, so he had on 2.5.
The tariffs, they died. The talks died on, and then all of a sudden,
next week he'll come with something else.
Yeah. And this is par for the course from the second term started for 45, 47, which is what I call it.
However, though, the world is very concerned now that the president is hinting that he would just obliterate Iran. And if he put the nukes on them, along with Israel, that's World War III. And all us would be out of here. Because when they send missiles between that side of the world and this side, we're in the middle, eh? So let's hope to God that don't happen.
It's just,
and the world is very, very concerned about that. And it could happen as quick as the weekend. Because he said he's going to teach them a lesson. And the lesson could only be with the nukes.
Yeah, we absolutely watch and pray, obviously, that cool heads prevail. That we can still do that, right? Gentlemen, of course, you know, the construction industry has been in the news all week. Since Monday, the Department of Labor has gone with its inspectors on various job sites, construction sites.
Immigration.
No, Department of Labor. The Department of Labor has gone on various construction to send the people home and shut it down. To send the people home and shut it down. And this is because of safety on construction sites. Now take a listen at someone, Eustacia Jennings, who just today came out in support of what the Department of Labor is doing.
It's sad that it took so many lives being lost to initiate some of the extra attention to safety, but we're heartened to see that progress is being made and there's more awareness to safety and more promotion of safety in the workplace. And we really believe as safety professionals is that all accidents are preventable. And one of the first things in preventing accidents is hazard recognition and then addressing those hazards, putting in the proper controls to mitigate risk and accidents before they happen. And this usually happens by doing inspections, by making sure you have a work plan, proper personal protective equipment in place, emergency response procedures, etc. So all of this is now seems like it's coming on stream. The Health and Safety at Work Act calls for a number of things, including it gives enforcement regulations to the OSHA unit to conduct these ad hoc inspections and to cease work. The act also calls for fines, which I have never heard of happening. I think as a culture, unfortunately, we're not very safety conscious. It's not been in our history. There's never been anything forcing them to do it, and so they don't do it. But now that there is enforcement, I think a lot of people know that that's what needs to be done. it's not ignorance. It's not because of ignorance. It's a lack of, some think it's too expensive because they have to outfit, they have to buy steel toe boots or PPE, but it's a small price to pay to keep someone safe. There's courses to take if you are not knowledgeable of what the safety requirements may be. There are courses you can take, OSHA, etc. Some of our persons in our organization offer training. There was just a fall arrest training conducted by the Bahamas Contractors Association and Bahamas Safety Solution. And so there are opportunities for them to learn. So it's not a case of ignorance and not a case of, it's just a case of people would do what they get away with.
Now, Jennings believes the root of the problem extends beyond enforcement. She says some construction site managers continue to ignore established safety requirements, placing workers at unnecessary risk. According to Jennings, many of the serious injuries and fatalities seen on job sites recently could have been prevented if existing safety protocols were consistently followed and properly enforced. You all know, in fact, let me go here and then we will discuss the entire thing, because this is a major thing now. You all remember at the beginning of the week, the Department of Labor went and they just went full force into doing what they're doing, because they said it's very unsafe. It's been 2 industrial incidents recently, so it's very unsafe on these sites. Well, this week as well, President of the Bahamas Contractors Association, Leonard Sands, stopped by the show and says the Department of Labor has not gone about this the right way and does not have the right to stop work on any construction site. He spoke to this on Beyond the Headlines.
The Bahamian Contractors Association does not have an issue with the Department of Labor doing the work that the Health and Safety Act 2002 calls for it to do. Let's make that first point very clear. We are on board with that. In fact, they were the part of our first cohort of persons that got training just this past Saturday in our fall protection training seminar. So we have no challenge with that.
Who was trained just on Saturday?
The inspectors.
Which inspectors, from the Department of Labor?
The inspectors from the Department of Labor.
They were not trained before Saturday to know what to look for?
They were not trained by anyone other than the Bahamian Contractors Association Fall Protection Training Seminar that we had on Saturday.
A one-day training?
Yes.
So you were saying they are grossly unqualified to go on any...
I'm not saying that.
Unexperienced?
I'm saying
unexperienced?
That until such time as they can produce additional training. The training that they did receive came from our certification course that we had on Saturday. Now, that's all that point. The second important point I want to make is that, in Bahamian language, we say, it's not what you say, but how you say it. Let me break that down to construction site. And I said this to my good friend and colleague in the industry, Assistant Director, Sharon Moss. After the training, I said, now here's the thing. The 70 persons inside this room got training.
Okay, you all hear Leonard Sands saying, listen, those inspectors with the Department of Labor were just trained on Saturday, one-day training, and to go out on Monday, full steam ahead and shutting down sites like they know what they're doing, that it's illegal, the law does not make provision for it, and they need to kind of just slow their rolls a little bit. Gentlemen, your thoughts about this? We know the necessity of what's happening, but he says it's illegal.
Shanique, I would agree it is much needed across the board. When we talk about businesses across the board, not just in the construction field, there's a lot of things, whether it be mechanic shops and things of that sort, to make sure people are following, I would say, whether you call it protocols or the proper safety requirements, wearing the proper equipment, etc. But it's needed across the board. Now, training on a Friday or on a Saturday and going out on a Sunday and shutting down jobs, I don't agree with that. I mean, I think you should be cited in terms of whether it be given a fine, things of that sort for not, I think that's the way, not just shut a job down, tell everybody go home, and not even knowing if what you're saying is the correct thing. Because there's no way in the world someone was trained and then all of a sudden they become an expert overnight. So it's definitely an issue there, and that's the problem that we have across the board. In a lot of people that function as inspectors don't know exactly, because first of all, they have no knowledge. They've never been on a job site. They've never done construction in their life to know how to do something right. And that's across a lot of different areas in the Bahamas.
Howard, you want to jump in?
Yeah, so I look at it from the perspective that I did a couple of nights ago, and the scary thing is if they weren't trained but still went out on Monday and have that power? The question is, do they have that power and authority under their job description to shut down a job site? That's the first thing. And then the second thing is this. The second thing is this. Across the length and breadth of the Bahamas, I believe it runs the gamut from sites being in compliance to sites needing to be shut down. Now, whoever determines whether or not a site gets shut down, to me, that's neither here nor there. There are some sites in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, whether an inspector is qualified or not, that need to be shut down immediately because they are committing egregious violations. So I just wanted to make that very clear. So where the law fails sometimes to cover what should be going on these sites, then the BCA should step in and do exactly what they did, train their people. And then last thing, the persons who are working, yes, you need a job. Yes, you want to take care of your family. But if you go on these jobs and those harnesses aren't there, those safety measures
do not
aren't
go
in place,
and take risks.
You need to leave that area immediately or do not even go.
I agree. I absolutely agree. Leslie, you will have the first word after the break. You will have the first word after the break. I have to go to a break. We are still talking about the construction industry and what the Department of Labor did this week, all week long. And then we look at the small business owners who are very angry at the new business requirements for licenses with Inland Revenue. It's all straight ahead on Beyond the Headlines.
Hey, it's your boy Charlie Bahama here at Superwash, Superwash's newest spokesmodel. And I'm here to tell you about Superwash's large capacity washers and dryers for all your big loads.
I know I see that Charlie Banana coming here just now.
Uh-oh, luckily it's also big enough for me to hide it.
I thought he was right over here where these large capacity washer and dryers is. They're big enough now to handle your big loads, you know. Yeah, like your comfort on your blanket. Well, just look at us. Somebody forget to turn on the dryer. Oh, stop! Help! You hear something? Yeah, that's the sound of clean. Superwash washes you, process you, and entertains you 24/7.
My name is Charles Wesley Gould. My organic farm is Nice Layers Organic Farm. I have 230 birds up here. I give them fresh water, pumpkin, lettuce, cabbages, all the vegetables. Anything what I eat, they eat. Right now, we sell the eggs for $7 a dozen from Monday to Friday. On Saturdays, you can get 4 dozen eggs for $21. I'll be located on Jamaica Road, the western side, Silverstone Primary School.
Island Log Sportsbook is giving you the chance to win big, and we mean fully loaded big. Place your bets. Every wager puts you in the running. The grand prize, a brand new 2026 Jet Tour T2 SUV, plus a 70-inch smart TV, Starlink with a full year of internet, and bi-weekly prize drawings from now until August 31st. Island Log Sportsbook, where every game is a chance to change your life. Must be 18 and over. Island Luck reminds you that it's only a game, so please game responsibly.
Running out of space? We've got room for that. Welcome to Skyline Storage, your trusted self-storage solution. Skyline Storage offers units from 5x10 to 10x30, climate controlled or standard dry. Perfect for home or business. Located in Westfield Commerce Park, Western New Providence. Your belongings stay safe with gated access and 24/7 surveillance starting at $175 a month. Reserve, pay, and move in online. No phone calls, no paperwork. Visit SkylineStorage.com. Skyline Storage. Storage made simple.
And so I'll tell you, the Department of Labor intent on doing what it's doing, but obviously halted things late this week as after being criticized. But Leslie, your thoughts on just everything that played out in front of our eyes this week in terms of the Department of Labor?
You know, over the last few weeks, we've seen persons on the job lost their lives, unfortunately, on some of the jobs. One guy, remember, fell off the roof in Fox Hill.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Another one, unfortunately, a Chinese worker decided Thomas A. Robinson fell off and lost his life. And these things really should not be happening. And the Ministry of Labor have an obligation to go and check these sites. But I think the big major contractors always there to fulfill their mandate and seeing to that their employees are covered adequately as far as having the necessary tools and equipment to enable them to do the job adequately and in a safe manner. It's just unfortunate that these things are happening and need to stop. I think the Construction Association need to get invited into their industry, the major contractors into this country, so they can have a more well-rounded approach to making sure that everyone does the right thing. Because there's a lot of small contractors out there. Many of them you call hackers, where people complain about them. They take people money, especially with the government
work, yeah.
housing program, do fifth-rate work, take the pay, and they always take care of the women. They take advantage of women, which has been prevalent in our country for the last 50 years, complaining, you know? So the whole industry needs to look at itself and try to do what is necessary to enhance the welfare of the average Bahamian that's in the construction industry.
Very true.
And most of that now is taken over by the other fellas anyhow, so.
Who is the other
Only a
fellas?
few of them, the Haitians, only a few Bahamians left in that industry.
Yeah.
Very few.
Yeah, Jamaicans as well. And,
And the
because, I
Jamaicans.
mean, the work, the quality of the work is now what's at issue as well. But gentlemen, I'll tell you, the small business owners around the nation are saying enough and questioning, putting the tough questions to the Department of Inland Revenue for its strict policies in affording them just a business license. In fact, many have been waiting for business licenses since the beginning of this year. Take a listen.
Several things. One is environmental health. The other one is town planning. The other one is, well, the Ministry of Works have several entities where you got to go to for approval for, yes, it's like about 3 or 4 different places. Several things. One is environmental health. The other one is town planning. The other one is, well, the Ministry of Works have several entities where you got to go to for approval for, yes, it's like about 3 or 4 different places in the Ministry of Works before you even get to Inland Revenue. It's more bureaucracy and red tape than you could imagine.
But what happened to the ease of doing business?
That
was the thing.
gone long time.
Let's talk about the impact. I was told just this morning by business owners who own bars and restaurants on Exoma, for example, that they are really having a tough time because, you know, the police at any moment can shut them down because they don't have the various licenses, I imagine, to be able to operate. How are you being impacted, or even persons just around you and people you know of?
In all fairness, I am not totally out, because fish fry comes under an umbrella where the government kind of make sure we have what we need to survive in that area. So we're not totally out, but it's the licenses, the liquor license, we go to the police to get that. Well, most bars and restaurants, they go to you got to go to the police, you got to go to the street, you got to go to the barracks, and you got to apply, and then they come to the inspection, and then now, even though they grant you and they say yes, that's not the final approval.
Right.
You still have to take all these documentation back, and if you don't have these documentation to take in the Inland Revenue, you can't pass that to get the license.
Now, G-Money, this is what I want to ask you. How is this impacting, whether it's on fish fry at Arawaki, whether it's somewhere over the hill? Gentlemen, you all heard, this has really been, the talk is now getting louder, but this has been happening really since before election. Many business owners, not just here in New Providence, but really around the Family Islands, complaining about the long wait. And then the requirements on top of that to be able to get this business license that many are still waiting to be able to have in their possession. Michael, we begin with you because you have brought this to the show before.
Many times.
Shanique, where the issue lies, it lies with this new liquor certificate that they put in place that's kind of in between, you know, all of the other agencies, whether it be the police, health, and then you have Inland Revenue, who is now awaiting all of the documents that the new liquor certificate website receives, and then they upload everything into, I assume, the website that the liquor certificate sits is tied into Inland Revenue. The issue is that it's obvious that Inland Revenue and all of these other agencies are not talking the same language.
Right.
They are all, one is saying you need this, the other is saying no, you need this, and you can't find out a true, clear answer in terms of what it is that I need to submit. And then you get somewhere, you get physical planning, you get Ministry of Works, you got to put, got to do new plans for your building, to submit the physical planning.
But how tedious is that, Michael? Even the other things we heard, which sounds like a lot already, but now you have to do new plans. What does it even mean by that?
When you
Not
drawings, which you should, you have drawings and if you're renting a building, you have to get floor plans done up. You have to get your building drawings. You need your parking, stating your parking. All of this now submit. And this is not for a new business license.
For liquor.
This is for an existing.
That specifically for liquor license?
Yeah, just specifically for liquor. But this is for existing businesses.
Why is it so difficult for liquor?
For those who would have been in business some 20, 30 years, some even longer. They have to go and get all this information, resubmit, and then still to find out, you still go through hooplas as it relates to Ministry of Works have no idea what they need because they're saying, oh, I need this from Inland Revenue. And then when you go to Inland Revenue says, no, you don't need that. You can use this. You go back to Ministry of Works, hey, here's the letter from Inland Revenue, the email. They're saying, oh, well, I don't know. I can need that 12-digit number that Inland Revenue is supposed to give you. It clearly states in an email when I was dealing with it, in my experience, every email from Inland Revenue clearly states, no, you can use your certificate of incorporation. You do not need a 12-digit number. You take it to Ministry of Works, no, I need it.
Yeah.
And it's like, you get to the point where you get tired. And this is something that's been going on for a lot of business from January. Just back and forth all days. Yeah? And today, I just happened to get a visit earlier today from Inland Revenue. And they came, their compliance team, to come and do an inspection. Very nice people. You can tell that they know. And I expressed my difficulties to them. I said, it's just not only me, it's a lot of other businesses going through the same thing. And they said, yes, we understand.
Listen, several people from Eleuthera this week sent me messages and say thank you for raising this issue because it's a thorn for them.
Yeah, I think they need. It's obvious it was not well thought out. They did not communicate to the different agencies in terms of how we could make this a seamless process and easy as possible. They need to cut it where it's at now. If your business license fees are paid up, if you filed for it, let people pay and then go revamp this again because it's not working.
Yeah, Shanique, small businesses are not only the foundational pillar of the economy of the Bahamas, but the ease of doing business is a right. It's not a privilege. We should be making it as easy as possible for people to engage in commerce, to engage in business in our country. After all, this is our country, and we deserve to do what we can to get ourselves a piece of the pie if we have the requisite skills and talents to do so. And so our government or our government's agencies and representatives should not be getting in the way of us carrying that mandate out, right? And so I'll go back to the three things I said earlier in the week. Number one, automatic agency data sharing. We need to connect these agencies, DIR, NIV, Customs, all of these places that we need to go, Registrar General's Office, the Business Registry, all of these places need to be connected. Their databases should be connected so that people can be verified. They can have their applications seen by all of these different agencies, and they can go on their merry way. And the second thing is these checklists. When it's time for renewals and stuff, we need to let people know in public spaces where they can go and they can see exactly what is required to get your application processed successfully or to get the application renewed successfully. Clear, concise checklists of things that need to be done or brought into the office or need to be uploaded into a digitized system. And then finally, mobile pop-up units. We need these in local communities and we need them across the Family Islands to assist people with getting these things done, submitting new applications and renewing applications, helping and assisting these people to get verified and to get their things done so they can get on their merry way and try to get their customers in the door.
I agree. Leslie, your thoughts?
Small business always played a vital role in development and transformation of our country. I think people don't appreciate them as much as they should. Because they're small, you overlook them. You always go for the big guys because they have more people employed. But collectively, the small business sector make a greater contribution than any other sector in the country. Collectively, the man-power stores do their job in developing entrepreneurs and making a contribution to the treasury. I don't understand why they won't have a seminar. In fact, I'm going to speak to the people in charge Simon Vincent was asking, maybe call a seminar within the next week or so to acclimatize people to the changes that is taking place and have more relevancy between each units. Because why is it that A and B doesn't know what each other are doing?
But you know, I think
this disconnect has to stop, man.
What Howard said, I think, is a great point, and maybe that's something to bring up. How do you interconnect these agencies? Because why me, as a businessman? I have some other things to do. Why I need to go to all? I have to be every year or go into all these different agencies, do the same thing all over again.
For the same business.
For the same business, where I should have one portal.
Gentlemen, I thank you, each of you, Leslie Miller, Michael Turnquest, Howard Johnson. Thank you so much. I don't want you to go anywhere, because when we come back, a brand new agreement in place to help improve aviation safety, meteorology, and a lot more with Baxwin and NOAA. It's straight ahead after the break.
Wealth should not only belong to a select few. At Investar, we believe the door should be open to everyone. We provide options for planning a better future. Our investment funds are designed to assist you in reaching your long-term financial goals. Let us show you how.
Well has expanded their testing menu. We now offer blood work, drug screening, and so much more. Our hours of operation are Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m., located on 11 Madera Street. We are here for all of your laboratory needs, with fast and reliable lab work done by our friendly and knowledgeable staff. Let us help you take the needed steps to stay in the know about your health. Let's keep working towards a healthier you. Stay eating well.
The newly signed agreement between the Bahamas Aviation, Climate and Severe Weather Network, Baxwin, and the United States National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, is a significant step towards the Bahamas being able to, through Baxwin, define its own destiny in aviation, aviation safety, weather forecasting, and climate resilience. Baxwin executives are here happy for this step forward in the organization, and tonight we're going to discuss this historic step. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines, Patrick Rollins, Baxwin's CEO, and Mark Hammerton, Baxwin's Chief Technology Officer. Gentlemen, good evening to both of you, and it's great to have you both here.
Good evening.
Let's just kind of break this down for a moment, because that's a mouthful that I said just a second ago. For the average person watching tonight, why is this new agreement such a significant moment for the Bahamas?
Shanique, thank you for having us on the show today. This agreement is significant for several reasons. We signed an agreement with NOAA to provide AWIPS. AWIPS is the U.S. government's gold standard platform for predicting weather forecasting throughout the U.S. And we are one of two countries, Taiwan and the Bahamas, are the only countries that the U.S. has signed a license agreement to use AWIPS.
Outside the United States?
Outside the United States,
This is
yes.
significant
It
then.
is significant, yeah. And so we are privileged and we're pleased to have this license on behalf of the government, and we are in the process of having the system implemented. The scientists were here for the last 2 weeks, and what they've done is they configured the satellites from the radars from the Bahamas, all the equipment from the Bahamas, and they have take that data and ingesting that into AWIPS. And Mark will give you a little more detail on what's happening there.
So this means, Mark, that like in real time here in our nation, pilots, meteorologists, and everyone related in the industry and in related industries would be able to detect the weather and whatever else there is in our nation, in our airspace.
Yes, that's correct. This is not just a simple software update or software install. What the system we're using is the same system that U.S. forecasters use to forecast the weather and provide aviation services throughout the United States. So like Patrick said, what we are enabled to do is we take all of the radar data locally produced and we're able to ingest that information, and then from there we're able to forecast better weather issues that could happen, issue hazardous warnings such as SIGMITs, AirMITs, TAFs, and so forth.
And in addition, Shanique, to being able to use it for aviation, it can also be used for general forecasting. And we will share these tools with the Department of Meteorology. So, a lot of times...
So our weather will be more up to the minute.
Correct.
Certainly, obviously, accurate.
And hopefully we wouldn't have those instances where hurricane is said to come and it doesn't show up, because they'll have more accurate data to deal with.
Oh, this is obviously quite welcomed. Let's look at areas that are trending right now, topics. We know we're in the hurricane season. We'll get to that in a second. You kind of mentioned it a second ago, but let's look at aviation safety. How does this new technology that Baxwin has just signed and agreed with NOAA and now is being implemented, how will this better make everyone feel secure flying in, out, around, and through the Bahamas?
Mark?
This basically is going to assist all aviation within the Bahamas, because we're going to have the now up-to-date information readily available that all pilots flying into the Bahamas, leaving the Bahamas, would have available to them at this time. Along with that, part of what we intend to do is aid with search and rescue systems locally to provide better services in that arena as well.
How so?
Well, using some of the radar systems, some of the flight tracking, we would be able to better assist with understanding if there was an issue with a flight, where the flight is at that time, the last time it was reported or anything like that.
Quite interesting. The new weather intelligence, pilots and air traffic controllers would also have access to it?
Yes, that's correct.
And this is from commercial to private?
Yeah, this would be from commercial to a private pilot, someone who just wants to fly on the weekend would have access to this information.
Now, how will you all ensure that this is enforced, adhered to, and that people are on board with this, so that everyone, I imagine, in the space are on the same page?
So we're setting up the Meteorological Watch Office, which will be producing all the aviation products. And they will be disseminating the products to the necessary agencies so they can be available for all users of the airspace. We have over 600,000 flights flying over the Bahamas every year, right? And so and right now, it's pretty much a black hole, because this was never available before, but they'll be able to get in real time.
So that proverbial sort of flying blindly will no longer exist?
Correct.
In our airspace?
Correct.
That's really, just make people feel more secure,
Yes.
Certainly at any airport in the nation, flying in the airspace ever. You referred to hurricanes or storms before. How much earlier can this technology help detect a storm, and how much more accurately can it help detect the storm?
So we have 4 radars throughout the Bahamas, weather radars. And what we do with this, all the data is now ingested into the AWIP system. And so that, along with all the other models and all the other tools that we have a system from Tomorrow.io, which use a lot of low Earth orbiting satellites and use artificial intelligence to determine the path of the hurricanes, etc. So we have several tools and that can be used to more accurately predict what's going to be happening with hurricane, because now the data is being used to drive the whole process.
Now, gentlemen, beyond aviation, we know the Bahamas has some other key areas, industries rather, that can be linked and depend heavily on the weather and proper forecasting. Which other industries will be impacted, and how much more significantly will they be impacted?
Well, what I think we would see more is, as we share some of our tools with the Bahamas Met Office, we will be able to actually assist the tourism industry better with preparing some forecasts and stuff like that. You know, it's always a sad day, along Bay Street when we're in the middle of a thunderstorm and tourists can't find anything. Yeah.
I know, and they're like, well, how long will it rain?
Yeah.
Is it going to rain today? Why is it raining?
It would be a lot easier if we could provide more information to them upfront and so forth about it.
Yeah,
now,
and phase 2 of this is to be able to tell you at any location. Right now, when they say there's a 60% chance of rain, it's a 60% chance of rain over the whole island or over a big area. Mm-hmm. So now we'll be able to tell you precisely there's a 60% chance of rain where you are. Awesome. Or 100% chance of rain where you are. So when you go to the hairdresser, you will say, you know what, let me leave this until...
Let me just wait until tomorrow.
Yes, correct.
Or next week. So listen, now accountability and delivery, what timelines are we looking at? We know that this is a brand new agreement. You said the scientists were here for the last 2 weeks. This agreement has just been reached and signed. What is the timeline for rollout and sort of to be put into action?
Yeah, the agreement has been signed, and they're in the process now, the final stages of implementing the software. We're in the final stages of getting our regulatory approvals with CAB and ICAO, and we hope to, by the end of this year, be up and operating.
Baxwin has gone on record in saying that this incredible opportunity that you all are doing around the nation, aviation and meteorology, emergency response, the rest of it, obviously is a great opportunity for new careers, new opportunities for people. So let's talk about jobs and training, even with this new signed document with NOAA. How does the person interested, and perhaps those even qualified, stand to benefit in terms of access to a promising career?
Excellent question, Shanique. We're going to need 20 plus meteorologists initially to operate the system. We don't have those locally, so we're going to have to be bringing some folks in to help assist us. In the meanwhile, we're going to be offering scholarships and apprenticeships to Bahamians, because at the end of the day, we want it to be a 100% Bahamian-run operation. It needs to be for the country. So early next year, we're going to start working with University of Bahamas, Baptist University, and we're going to put a scholarship program in place where we train people, we send them off to school, we send them off to university abroad. They become certified meteorologists, and they can work for Baxwin.
So for those interested in, again, a new industry opening up, or perhaps a broadening of the industry, because we know meteorology exists, but certainly, obviously, with skilled education and the skills that will accompany that to be able to operate in this new space called meteorology in the Bahamas. Yes?
Yes.
Really awesome. So climate change. Prime Minister Davis has made those two words quite common in the Bahamas. How will this technology assist the Bahamas with its efforts to become climate resilient?
You're asking a lot of excellent questions today. Another module we've developed is, and Mark can speak more about it, is a software that can actually track carbon emissions in our airspace. Mark, you want to talk a little more about it?
Yeah. So we developed a new carbon credits reclamation, aviation reclamation software, where based on some of our weather forecasts, we enable flights and pilots to adjust their flight plans to avoid some turbulence and possibly save on carbon emissions, which in turn we would be able to reclaim those carbon credits ourselves. So that's one of the major things that we're doing itself to combat with climate change in the Bahamas. Also too, with the second generation, with us being a next generation weather office, like Patrick had said, we're gonna have the opportunity now to better predict incidents that occur now more frequently because of climate change. So some of the little flooding, the flooding that we're all used to, at least once a year or twice a year, we're going to be able to better assist people with understanding where it's going to happen accurately and when to expect that kind of flooding.
So it won't happen and surprise people, because some of these, like spring tides and the rest of it, all of this you'll be able to kind of predict when the ground is oversaturated in certain spots.
Yeah.
Yes, AWIPS is able to assist with all of this. And back to Mark's point, the software is called Flight Path Intelligence, a platform, and we're going to roll that out in the Prime Minister Climate, in the Blue Initiative, so that the country can start monetizing carbon credits.
So this is that overhead,
yes.
What is it officially called? Because I'm saying overhead space. What is that?
It means overflight.
Overflight space. This is now going to position the Bahamas to really tap into that and take advantage of those fees.
Correct. And Baxman has been to the Standard & Poor's conferences for the last 2 years, Carbon Credit Conference, and the software was named the breakout software of the conference, because no one has developed a software like this before. Mm-hmm. And we're hoping in the next, by the end of this year also, to get it implemented for the Bahamas government.
Really amazing. Let's just talk about the sort of regional positioning. Regionally, how does this new software that you say is only in the second country outside the United States now, which is the Bahamas, how does this position the Bahamas in perhaps to become a leader in the region for aviation safety, aviation forecasting, and all the other things you mentioned?
Yes, the MWO that we're setting up, the next-gen MWO with the WXNet proprietary network, is going to put us far ahead of any of the aviation MWOs in the region. Right? And we've got lots of interest from people all over the world. Just got a call this morning from the MWO wanting to find out more about backswing, and about what we're doing. So right now we are the envy of a lot of people because of our agreements that we will put in place, and we right now in the process of just getting these all implemented so that we can take it to the next level and be the envy of the region and the world.
Amazing. And gentlemen, I'll ask both of you if you can perhaps answer this question as we kind of move forward with Bahamians a little jittery about aviation right now. Just sort of a comment to top this segment off about why this is so just awesome and at the right time for this nation.
The main thing the reason this is such a great thing is it's a story of us as the Bahamian people having utilizing our data to be in control of our own airspace. So now that we have this information and the software and the hazard system, we are fully in control of our own airspace, where we can provide the information about any hazards that occur with our airspace, flight tracking throughout the Bahamas, just to increase safety throughout the Bahamas in the aviation space as well.
So I'll tell you a story. I think it was back in November or December of last year. A British Airways flight on arrival into Nassau was struck by lightning. And they landed safely, and so they had to end up getting another plane in to take the passengers out, and it created an operational nightmare for British Airways. As sometimes happens. When that happened, I said, we have a software that we implemented called Bolt Alert, which tells which tells airlines and a hotel and hotel there's going to be a lightning strike in this region 20 minutes from now.
Seriously?
So the pilot
this is what this technology is going to be doing?
Correct. So the pilot can navigate around it. He would know well in advance that there's going to be some hazardous lighting in this area, and he can navigate around it. Also for turbulence.
This is proven technology to be working right now elsewhere.
Proven technology developed by the scientists at NCAR, our partners, right? And another one is the turbulence alert. So, you know, right now you're on a plane and you hear the stories all the time about the plane getting really damaged because of turbulence. So they can tell 30 minutes ahead that there's turbulence going to happen. And so they can now reroute around it. And these are things that we have in our office, products we have in our office now ready to deploy.
Gentlemen, this is amazing. I love to keep abreast and obviously make the nation aware and take us all along of what Baxwin is doing. I mean, after all, you're modernizing aviation, emergency response in terms of aviation, and then obviously communities benefit as a result. And so it's good to hear of this. You're making obviously great strides as you continue to move forward. Thank you for stopping by this evening, Patrick Rollins, the CEO of Baxwin, and Mark Hammerton, the Chief Technology Officer at Baxwin.
Thank you for having us.
My pleasure. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
And I want to say a huge thank you to all of you for tuning in all week long. It's been great having you along. I look forward to seeing you right back here on Monday evening. For the entire Beyond the Headlines team, I'm Shanique Miller. Make it a blessed evening, everyone. Weekend.